Hello, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary folks everywhere, and welcome to Action and Adventure, the Hasbro Universe Podcast, episode 22. Right? It is 22?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that sounds right.
Yes, episode 22. We are rapidly approaching episode 26, which will be our 1 year anniversary. Wow. Can you believe it? I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think as well, sort of how much kind of the comic line has sort of changed in that 1 year as well. Like, it seems like longer. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, actually, by the time we hit episode 26, it will have probably gone from, like, God knows how many Hasbro Universe books per month to, like, possibly just the 2 Transformers ones in between kind of this point and Unicron.
Yeah, that is true. But hey, enough about talking about the future. Let's talk about the now. I'm your host, Daniel.
Oh, yeah, and I'm your other host, Callum. We can do that, to me.
And today we have a busy week. We have 6 comics today, or seven comics today. Sorry, I miscounted.
It's the full kind of month's worth, effectively.
Yeah. That's the thing. We have Optimus Prime. We have the Optimus Prime 2018 Annual. We have Optimus Prime number 16. We have Lost Light number 15. We have Transformers vs. Visionaries number 3. We have Rom and the Micronauts number 3. We have Scarlett Strike Force number 3. And we have Gem Dimensions number 4. So it's a busy week. Let's try to get through this all. But first, we do have one piece of news. Technically, it has not been announced officially, but it's generating a lot of discussion, so I feel like, and, Ryall himself has copped to this, and admitted it, but Chris Ryall is going to be stepping down from his position as editor-in-chief of IDW Publishing. I mean, talk about unexpected. This really threw me for a loop when I learned about this. Like, wow. Callum, what were your thoughts on this when you heard the news?
It's a bit just kind of out of nowhere, isn't it? I've seen people joking that clearly it was all just a long con to get IDW to publish a new ROM comic, and now sort of his work is done. He can ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things where Ryall has had a tremendous impact on the company, even outside of the Hasbro titles. Obviously, that's sort of our purview, so that's what we'll focus on in this discussion. But he really had a huge, tremendous impact on the company. But the fact is, he is instrumental in the existence of, the Transformers books at IDW. He was, really one of the people who was a major part of getting that license, which basically put IDW on the map. And of course was one of the chief architects of the Hasbro Universe, along with David Hedgecock and John Barber, incorporating ROM. And that's the thing. And he brought ROM back to comics after 30-year absence. So.
Yeah, because I haven't really thought about that. But kind of pre-Transformers, IDW were basically just a sort of, they mostly did sort of horror books and stuff, didn't they? I feel like. Yeah,
I think their biggest success was 30 Days of Night and some other Ashley Wood type stuff. I know Wood and Ryall collaborated on Zombies vs. Robots, which if you've not read Zombies vs. Robots, it's a great read.
Actually, because that's that kind of factored into Infestation 1, didn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing, because the zombie virus in that shows up in CVO and in Infestation originated from Zombies vs. Robots, and it's a whole thing where the virus infects the robots in that story. It's a whole thing. That's obviously factors into Transformers, Infestation, and G.I. Joe, and all that. So
I'm getting off track here now, but I remember just sort of looking up stuff about that CVO series that also factored Infestation, and it's just it's the naughtiest thing ever. Just
Okay, yeah, see, I went back and read some of that, and
Huh?
it's funny because it's got David Messina on it from ROM, but it's also, like, clearly his art has changed a lot because, like, let's just say the way he drew women in that book, especially, like, Brit,
I can imagine.
was... I'm glad he grew out of that by the time we got to ROM, it seems like. But yeah, but this thing really, it was because of stuff like Transformers that IDW became sort of, not just publishing independent works, but also a lot of their licensed books, which has, even outside of Transformers and Hasbro, gotten us, great comics like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Star Trek. And now currently they're doing Star Wars Adventures, which... fantastic title. Like,
no, I've been meaning to check that out. It does seem like it would be quite good.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I you know me. I love my all ages books. So, yeah. So,
but yeah, like IDW are but kind of like what licensed books are like do other companies actually have? There's like Star Wars stuff at Marvel, but then also IDW now.
Yeah.
And like Dark Horse still have sort of like Alien and Predator and stuff, don't they?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I know Dynamite. They do the Flash Gordon and the King features.
Yeah.
And they do like Tarzan and Conan and like a lot of the Golden Age or pre-Golden Age kind of proto superhero stuff. But yeah, as far as like other licensed company, like a lot of, there's Boom. Boom does like Power Rangers and stuff.
Yeah.
But they also do a lot of like all ages creator-owned stuff like Lumberjanes. So, it's about 50-50, I feel like, for most companies. But yeah, IDW has definitely built its brand on its licensed properties, as well as a few creator-owned stuff like 30 Days of Night or Winona Earp. So, but yeah, it's certainly one of those things. Like, I don't want to speculate about the why Ryall is leaving, because if you visited any Transformers message board, except for ironically the Allspark, you will see that this topic has incited quite the debates, discourse.
Really?
That's the thing. I don't want to get too speculative about Ryall's departure, but it is definitely one of those things that, because the future of the Hasbroverse has kind of been in question as of late, I feel like, though, we all kind of expected, well, as long as Ryall's there, ROM will keep getting a book. And, well, Ryall's not there anymore, so it's definitely something that, just given how long Ryall worked for them, it's kind of one of those things where, you'd expect it to become, that it would happen eventually, but when it does happen, it's like, wow, this is weird, I mean, it's like he had left the EIC position briefly to be the chief creative officer, but now he's leaving the company entirely. So it'll be interesting to see what direction the company takes and what direction the Hasbroverse will take in the future. Personally, I would actually love, because I got the opportunity to meet Chris back last year at NC Comic Con.
Oh, yeah.
And he is a very cool guy, just a great guy to talk to, especially because, we're both ROM boys, so we were like just talking ROM for a while. I personally would love to have him on the podcast sometime, just to, to kind of, as like a look back at his work at IDW and kind of, and to talk about sort of, some of the stuff that maybe, maybe now that he's not working there, some like, if there's anything that like at first he couldn't share about like the behind the scenes details. But certainly I would like to have him on the show to talk about ROM and his work at IDW. But it is, it's like I said on Twitter, this really is the end of an era for IDW, because Chris has been there so long and has influenced so much about the company. It really is like the end of an era, and I wish Chris the best of luck in his future endeavors. Certainly hope that, whether he's gonna go into just writing like John Barber, or if he's gonna try to work at some other company in the editorial department, remains to be seen. But wherever he goes, I can tell you that I will definitely follow his work even beyond IDW. So, to you, Chris, if you're listening, we tip our hats to you, sir.
Yeah, very well said. It is hard to sort of overestimate the influence he has had on the Transformers and then Hasbro Universe line over. Well, 12 years now, isn't it, coming up on?
Yeah.
Actually, because what's going to be when did Infiltration Zero come out?
That was 2005, late 2005, I want to say.
Actually, no, yes, we've already passed, okay, yeah. I was going to think, because, with stuff looking like it's going to be sort of finishing at the end of the year, I wonder whether there will be anything on sort of the actual... Okay, yeah, no, Infiltration Zero came out on October the 19th. But actually, no, we already know now that Lost Light is running through till December. So they're not going to go for a sort of,
So it'll be like...
exactly 13 years later thing, no.
But it'll be over 13 years, so...
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
It is going to end up, if it does end at the end of this year, it'll be the sort of, if you don't count stuff like Japanese G1, where they just sort of randomly add stuff to it every now and then, it's easily going to be the longest continuously running piece of Transformers kind of fiction, isn't it?
The longest, most consistent, continuous,
longest
single continuity.
So
let's talk some comics. So first up, let's talk about the Optimus Prime Annual. This was the book I was waiting for, basically since it was since it was first teased. I don't remember when it was first teased, but basically when it was, Thundercracker's gonna make a movie. I was like, hell yes, I'm on board. Give it to me now. So worth the wait. This is honestly one of my favorite comics I think I've ever read, in general. And I've read a lot of comics in my day. I loved it. Callum, what did you think?
Yeah, it's full on John Barber having a lot of fun and just gleefully springing through the comic, just not taking things at all. Well, no, actually, I said not taking things at all seriously, because it does. It does take itself. Thundercracker does have a genuine character story, and this, because this is part of what's good about this issue, is that it is a really funny issue, but it does also take, because as Thundercracker's whole thing under Barber has it's been fun. I like it, but it has also admittedly not really been part of a character journey for him. It's been just that's just his thing that he does.
Yeah.
Whereas this issue takes his thing that he does and does give him a little character arc where he grows and changes as an artist.
Yeah.
Whilst also being really funny. So big thumbs up.
Yeah. In many ways, I would almost say this is a a sequel or a follow-up to the Transformers Revolution tie-in.
That is a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because that, I think that had a similar thing, because Thundercracker was a B, he was the B cast. He was not really, while he was involved and he was present, he was ultimately not really heavily, he wasn't on, in the main line of the action, against Galvatron and all that during the second half or the second season of Robots in Disguise and XRAD. But that's the thing, that Revolution tie-in was one where we really got to focus on Thundercracker as a character, and through the lens of him being a screenwriter, sort of that helped to advance his character. This is much in the same way, but this is a whole annual, so we really get a lot more time to develop not just him, but the other characters around him. And because that's the thing, because that was what the other comic lacked. The other, the Transformers Revolution tie-in was such a focused on Thundercracker thing. Sure, Marissa was in there, Buster and Bob were in there, but Buster and Bob aren't, not to say they're not characters, but they're very limited characters just in they're animals. But with this, we really get to see Thundercracker interact with characters like Alpha Trion and Starscream and Skywarp, who despite being on Earth, hadn't really interacted with. But even though they're both in a very similar position now, and I loved seeing that. So that's the thing. I feel like this is. This is really major development, and honestly, if this is the culmination of Thundercracker's character development in the IDW universe, I wouldn't mind that. It's very excellent.
I didn't really think about it sort of as I was reading it, but I've seen since sort of people point out that this could well be the feather on kind of Thundercracker's cap for this, with kind of, I guess, the logic being that there won't be time for him to get a ton of spotlight in the core books from here on out, with kind of big climactic things happening. So it's a really nice it's a comedy issue. It's also a nice sort of character driven kind of spotlight issue. It's just really good. It's got some of the best kind of meta jokes in Transformers history. The Acid Storm jokes, where just Acid Storm in universe defines himself solely by being green. It's just the best joke ever, because of course, in the fandom, Acid Storm is defined solely by being green.
I love that, honestly. Honestly, I really loved the whole joke of Acid Storm being a frustrated actor and complaining about body paint, because let me tell you, I have been there. Body paint is the worst, okay? So that's the thing. I especially loved it from that aspect. And I also loved the fact that friggin', and me, I mean, I love the Adventure Team, I love me some Bullet Man. Richard Ruby shows up as a supporting character, and then at the end, friggin' JJ Hackensack from the frickin' from the Barker Brothers International Movie Maker board game shows up, and it's I almost wonder, I'm like, John, did you set that up intentionally? Has he been planning this for a while? But no, this is... It is a phenomenal issue. Everything from the character interactions to the parts of the movie we get to see. I loved Flame War as Rodimus, Tankor as Megatron. I like it. I loved it. This was, and I did like seeing not only Starscream and Thundercracker and Starscream interacting, but I also really liked seeing Thundercracker interacting with Dirge, who is the only Conehead still around, and him, and him interacting with Skywarp and him sort of visiting G.I. Joe headquarters. And I also really love the idea of Barwani thinking that Thundercracker's work is avant-garde, meta, really groundbreaking, intentionally bad stuff, when it's just especially because that's such a thing in movie in film circles, is people who see just a bad movie and think it's being really avant-garde or nothing, when it's just really bad, So that's thing. I loved this issue, start to finish. It was great. dark. Although I honestly kind of would have liked to have read an issue about Rumble and Frenzy and their movie. I actually genuinely loved that whole. Like, I could, especially because I read this at first through Guided View on Comixology, and that worked so well for that sequence. It really did. So, yeah. So this was a great issue. Callum, any other thoughts?
No, yeah, it just does lots of things right. It does character stuff right. It does character stuff right. It does the comedy right. Has some nice continuity stuff. It's John Barbara after all, so we get some sort of nice sort of between the gaps stuff with sort of you can have Megatron origin and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like it was cool seeing pre-Seeker designs for Thundercracker and Skywarp.
Yeah, that was actually really something I really liked, especially because like there was that shot in the was it the Till All Are One finale? Yeah, it was the finale. Where we see that shot of Starscream being placed in like a Seeker, like in like a line of Seekers, like that were all cold constructed, which implied that the other two were like, but no, it's like, so that's actually like a really clever thing. I also liked how that scene like kind of blended Starscream's comic, like Marvel comic and cartoon backstories into one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because in the Marvel comics, Starscream was a politician. And then of course in the cartoon, he was referred to as a scientist with Skyfire or Jetfire. Whichever you want to go with. But yeah, I think this thing. So lots of really good like little clever nods and stuff. I loved it. And really, if you haven't read this issue, you are doing yourself no favors. Like I would dare say you are actively hurting your life to not read this comic. Yeah. That's how good it is.
I may need to seek out a physical copy of this sometime soon, because I feel like it's in danger of not getting collected, because it's not in Optimus Volume 3. That's like 11, 12. The First Strike one-shots 13, 14, and Volume 4 is 7 full issues of The Falling. So, yeah, I don't know. This may end up not in a trade, which I feel like hasn't happened with Transformers for, like, a fair while. Like, even the Holiday Special, they eventually stuck into the Transformers Revolution trade.
Yeah, I feel like... I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it gets collected in some way, shape, or form, but I will say it is... because I do have a physical copy, it is it's very nice. It's thick. It's got a spine, so it's like so. So it's like it can go on your bookshelf and all that. It is a very nice physical. So I would highly recommend if you like come across one at like TF Nation or something. I definitely say get it. And I also love the credits page at the back, especially because it's like special thanks to it's like got the whole star and all that. And it's like special thanks to Buster, Marissa Fairborn, Rashid Nasir, Richard Ruby, blah 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 blah, and then like all like not just the people who like worked on this book and like have worked with Barber, but like everyone who worked on any book that Thundercracker was involved with.
It's sort of everything.
Well, and every character who showed up, like that's saying Fred Van Lente, he gets a mention in here, which
because the Bullerman stuff.
Yeah, because he created the character of Richard Ruby as the reality star, and which later went on to inform John's take on it. So and Michael Kelly over at Hasbro. So that's saying lots of little names. Well, that's saying Jamal Igle. That's another G.I. Joe. Because he was the artist on G.I. Joe, at least for the CoverGirl story. But just a great little book. I mean, I could literally go through this entire thing page by page and just point out things that I love, like the triple threat joke. Loved that. Love that joke. But yeah, so
I mean, the kind of the lizards and insects growing gag as well.
oh, I love that. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, we got the Chuckles scene.
The Chuckles
How could we?
moments.
Oh my god, brilliant! And that's the thing. And I love how it's like in universe, it even makes sense. Like that's the thing. Like people were pointing out the fact that Cobra Commander is clearly Crake. But, like, you think about it, well, in universe, Crake is the only Cobra Commander that ever went public. So, you know, of course, and his visage was printed on posters and, like, Cobra recruitment posters. So, obviously, if Thundercracker, you know, just types into Google search results, Cobra Commander, boom, Crake is the one who's going to show up. Yeah, so it's like, and Chuckles is in his classic 1980s with almost with the mullet thing. So, it's great. Like I said, I could go through this page by page and just point out everything that I love in it. But yeah, so it was great. Heck, I even liked the fact that Starscream, I didn't mind the fact that like Starscream evidently sent a hit out on Thundercracker, and the fact that Thundercracker, you know, like this also shows that just because he's a more lighthearted character and trying to be a writer, he's still the badass warrior seeker that he always has been, and I really love that part too. So, like I said, everything in this book, go out, get it, because literally I could just sit here and talk for hours. I could do an entire podcast just on this one book because it's that damn good.
It's true.
Buy
We
it.
could so easily do it.
Buy it. Don't pirate it. Buy it. Comic book piracy is bad and is hurting the industry. But I won't get it on a soapbox right now about that. Though I could.
Right, so I guess up next we've got another Optimus Prime issue. It's issue 16, which is part 2 of The Fooling. And it's another pretty good Optimus Prime issue.
And it's another good Soundwave issue, and you know me, I am always here for a Soundwave focused issue.
Yeah, no, it's sort of like I feel like The Falling has been sort of the first two like parts have been sort of unfolding at a sort of kind of perhaps more kind of sedate pace than I'd expected, but I feel like the end of this issue is the sort of everything's going to hell now sort of turning point almost, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, we do know it's going for it's one of the longer storylines I feel like these books have done. Since it's ending in 21.
It's going to be 1, 2, 3 interlude 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, so yeah, it's so this is definitely the storyline is one of the longer ones, and I'm curious to see how it develops, because that's the thing. The first part was very much like putting pieces in place, and but this issue we really focus in on Soundwave and how he's sort of grappling with where he's been for the past year, like basically year or so, in terms of the books, in his role as Optimus is basically Optimus's right hand, and how how the Decepticons came about as a peace movement, and whether he feels like he's betraying that idea. It's really good, just kind of introspective stuff, and the way we get that interacting with him interacting with like Onyx Prime, who is very much, that's the thing, and I'm curious to see what happens with Onyx, because I think we were all expecting him to show up and just be immediately evil, but no, he's either playing some sort of game, or he's not quite the conqueror I think we were all expecting him to be.
Well, not outwardly.
Not outward. Yeah. Not immediate. Not at this point in the story. But he is definitely.
It's such a tease at the end of the issue. Alphatrion goes, "Oh, Primus, I understand. I know exactly what you are," staring at Onyx, and then he dies immediately.
Yeah. I mean, even though Onyx is a scary-looking dude, I mean,
Yeah.
like we get this one panel that's just a close-up on his face, and we see, like, the almost, I don't, this might just be the angle that the way the shading is done, but it's like his mouth is almost like down, like elongated, like a horse's face almost. At least that's the way it appears in this panel. But I mean, and of course he's speaking in black word balloons and white text, which is
it's never a good sign.
Never a good sign. So
actually, no. Wait, which of them? One of the Micronauts? Is it Biotron.
Biotron. Yes, but he also has like digitized font.
True, he does.
So it balances it out. You know.
Although, yeah. Onyx has a normal font, so he's not quite as scary as like a Dire Wraith, who get
yes,
they get black bubbles and scary font, don't they normally?
Yes, the science of evil word balloons, coming soon from Callum Tozer and Daniel Atkins. But yeah, it was and just I mean the art on this book, especially. I mean like that opening page. With like the shattered the shattered glass.
Oh
look.
yeah,
not shattered glass. Transformers,
not like that.
But yeah, like a broken window, kind of. Yeah, it's like, it's great stuff. I mean, K Zama brings a look to these characters and to this book that, quite frankly, I don't think anything really compares to it. Like,
yeah,
a lot of people compare K's art, at least the coloring, to Generation 2. And while yes, that is certainly they are certainly similar, like flat, stark colors, but like K's line art is just. It's so different. Like, it's so different from, like, I feel like anything we've had on Transformers, and it works so well for this book and for this storyline specifically.
I was going to say, this specific kind of story with Onyx Prime, it does, like, and not to sort of talk down any of the other kind of artists who have worked on Bond and stuff, but yeah, K's stuff is sort of, it's metal in that way that is really nicely suited to a sort of horrific kind of beast god turning up with his ridiculous flying like ram skull sailboat spaceship thing on top of his giant eye spaceship and
well, and that's the thing, and she brings this viciousness to the even to the beast characters. Like, we see Ramulus, or at least we assume it's Ramulus because it looks like Ramulus, and Beast, and like the Beast Beast Megatron, who I'm going to call Gnash Teeth because why not? That's thing.
He'd hate you for that,
yeah, but that's the thing, and even Liege Maximo. I mean, like, that's the thing. Her Liege Maximo, I feel like, is very different from the way Sarah drew Liege Maximo. It's much more
technically the same design.
But it's
like scary.
Yeah, sharper teeth, rigid horns. Rather than the smooth Loki-esque design.
Sarah's Liege Maximo was sort of the sort of like kind of pretty boy, sort of like Loki, like smooth trickster. Whereas, this Liege Maximo is also really scary. Like, perhaps not Onyx Prime levels of scary, but he's also pretty scary.
Yeah. Yes, and we have something building up with him because, like, Soundwave couldn't read his mind, and, like...
Yeah, like, he couldn't Onyx either, though. Could he? Yeah, like, he seems to sort of just not be able to read the Prime's minds, it seems like.
Which... is weird, because, I mean, that's the thing, the whole thing with wait, could he read Alpha Trion? Hold on. Or is there... I don't know if he ever tries.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But that's the thing, it's like... I can't remember if he's ever tried to read Alpha Trions. I don't think he does in this issue, but that is definitely like one thing that
there's sort of
there's some
the end of this issue raises a lot of questions.
Yeah, which is what it's supposed. Because that's saying like I feel like a lot of people were asking, like I'm not sure what happened in this issue, and it's like that's kind of the point. You're not
characters didn't understand what happened either.
Yeah, I mean that's saying something happens, and we are left in as just as much as the dark. We're left just as much in the dark as the characters are. So yeah, it's definitely it ends on a big moment that I cannot wait to see what happens next, and I really I look forward to seeing what the true is, because that's saying, because the way it has the characters saying, like, speaking, and Alpha Trion being like, I know exactly what you are, followed by a panel with Elige Maximo saying the Prime of Lies. I'm wondering, is Onyx the real Prime of Lies, or is like Elige Maximo controlling him? I mean, that's the thing, it's like we were already suspicious of Elige Maximo being tied up in chains by his good buddy Onyx Prime, so it leaves us off in a very interesting position. So I look forward to seeing.
because that line, kind of the Prime of Lies, kind of like, because obviously like the Elige Maximo is like the trickster god, but then also there was this kind of thread established in issue 10 of kind of Onyx Prime essentially deliberately lying through sort of myths and stories to manipulate events to his own ends, and it's all very interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. It's another really solid issue. And it's a Soundwave focused issue, and that is always gonna get my gear going, because I love Soundwave. And Sea Spray shows up.
Yeah, Sea Spray's there.
Yeah, I love I also love Sea Spray. He's a very underrated character in my opinion. Just how much has been done with him. So the fact that he is still around, he wasn't randomly killed off or something,
Yeah, I think what was the last time he was seen, when he just he randomly shows up in all those stupid group shots at the start of the Costa ongoing.
Yeah.
Just here's a bunch of Autobots who will never appear again in this ongoing series.
Yeah. So great issue.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime continues to just, it continues to just be like, honestly, probably my favorite of the Transformers titles. No, or easily, my favorite of the Transformers titles we have going on right now. It's great stuff. Any other thoughts, Callum?
No, that kind of, I think I've said my piece. Kind of, it's this arc is setting up to be really good, and Barber Soundwave is always a nice treat. So it's nice. Like I assume probably kind of, because kind of, it definitely does seem to be a thing that the character whose silhouette is on the Casey Collar cover is sort of a focus and narrator character for the issue. So I assume we aren't going to kind of, it isn't going to, subsequent issues aren't going to be quite as Soundwave focused.
Yeah.
But
But that's the thing. Yeah. It does this thing that I really like in comics, where it's a multi-part story, but each can basically but it also allows each individual issue to kind of have its own individuality, I guess.
Yeah.
So let's see. Who will be the next? The next. I'm trying to look up the B cover. That's RC. RC's on the cover for the B cover for next time.
Wait, is it?
Yeah.
It's Aileron, isn't it?
No, it's. No, it's RC. Aileron's, or...
You, like, Optimus Prime 17. This is definitely Aileron. It's like, you could...
I don't feel... Hold on. I thought Aileron was on another cover.
She's on issue 17.
Huh. I thought that was RC. I don't know why it was... I mean, I guess it was just the backpack was making... It was, for whatever reason, was clicking in my head more as RC.
That's Aileron's head. It's sort of dumpier and... Like, she's sort of smaller and rounder than RC is.
Okay.
Oh, actually, and RC is inside in the actual picture.
Yeah,
so.
but RC was or Soundwave was in.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah, that doesn't preclude. Yeah.
Is he inside himself on this issue?
I'm pretty sure he is.
He isn't. He's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah, I don't think the silhouette character appears inside themselves. So, yeah, I think it's Aileron, I think.
Alright, fair enough. The backpack was what was making me think it was RC.
Yeah, it's the wings, I guess, sort of, like, pointing up a bit.
But, like, you understand, like...
Oh, yeah.
Where I was... Okay, alright. So that I will... Okay, so I was wrong. It's Aileron. So, hey, that'll honestly be even better. To have to really have an Aileron-focused issue, because, I mean, that's the thing, we kind of got that with Primeless, but again, it was also Aileron with the other I lost the word. I was about to say colonizers, but that's not the right word. Colonists. That's the word. Thank you, my friend. So I'm looking forward to next issue and all that. So yes, it's a good issue. Shall we move on to Lost Light?
Yes, let's.
Lost Light number 15.
It's the Mpreg issue.
Okay, so we're just going right. Let's just jump right into that. Yeah.
I mean, let's not pretend that isn't what's dominated discussion of this issue.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's. Yeah. It's certainly an interesting idea. I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, it's not like, I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know this issue was decent, especially for a Scavengers story. I mean, it's one of those things I said in last time, that I was like, oh, a Scavengers story that I didn't immediately hate. This is not bad. So, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't know if it's just my burned out, just me being burned out on Lost Light or whatever it is, but it's just it was an alright issue. Callum, what did you think?
I would concur. Context does make the Mpreg stuff kind of funny, but all things considered, kind of this stuck the landing better than possibly any previous Lost Light multi-parter, I would say, because I didn't like the ending of Dissolution with Megatron getting to stay behind for his fantasy dream life do-over. Troja Major, the less said about that, the better. It's we talked about this last episode. Mutineers trilogy, terrible ending there, but this was fine, okay. Yeah. It's sort of interesting. Yeah. I have to question, Scorponok, are you really sure that kind of sustaining kind of, he said millions, didn't he? Millions strong population of basically humans, possibly giant humans, looking at the scale of the Firstborn. Yeah. Are you sure that's easier than cold construction?
Yeah, well...
It's the Matrix over a game where it's are humans is it actually efficient to use humans as batteries like that, robots? Are you sure?
It's definitely it's not something I saw coming. I'll give it that.
No.
It's definitely one of those things I was like, huh? It's like he's got a little fetus, a little baby with a Decepticon symbol on the face, and I honestly don't know where this is gonna go, because I mean that's like because the whole because now Grimlock has it, so I don't know where this is gonna go, but
yeah, it's all.
I'm intrigued. I mean, I'll be honest. I am kind of intrigued to see where this goes, but yeah, it is. I
mean, it's kind of odd in that it ended up sort of feeling less connected to kind of the myth arc than I was expecting, because sort of we'd all kind of ended up assuming that Scorponok was the Grand Architect and was the final boss, and that this issue would be our sort of first look at sort of our kind of little glimpse ahead at some of the finale stuff that might be going down.
Yeah.
But it actually turns out that Scorponok is just another lackey of the Grand Architect, and this whole thing with the Firstborn was his sort of weird side project. Yeah,
and that's the thing that I've got to be honest, I was really disappointed by that sort of last page reveal of, I am the Grand Architect and you belong to me now. It's like, because I wanted Scorponok to be the Grand Architect, because I felt like I felt like he would make for a good kind of villain of the final boss, especially because his stuff basically goes like all the way back towards like the beginning of of the IDW continuity, and I felt like he really would have been a good villain, especially because he sort of has been gone since especially since Roberts' first work, Last Stand of the Wreckers.
Yeah.
I felt like he would have been a good boss, but the fact that he's just he floated in space and then he got picked up by possibly one of the Knights of Cybertron. It's based on the sigil, it's not entirely clear. Although some people were thinking that it would be that the Grand Architect is Unicron.
It's not.
It's not, because Unicron is getting a whole event unto himself. But yeah, it
literally makes no sense. The Lost Light finale is going to be simultaneous to the Unicron event.
Yeah, it's
that end is just James Roberts doing a Transformers the movie reference. Even Lost Light cannot escape the inescapable black hole that is Transformers fiction doing Transformers the movie references.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I also I also, another thing that I don't know how I feel about it is the whole Grimlock transformation thing, and that I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. The animals issue was already kind of a minefield in and of itself, but yeah. So I don't know how I feel about the whole Grimlock thing, but I felt like I needed to mention, it warrants a mention at least.
It's basically kind of what I kind of always kind of figured would happen with this, and I remember kind of talking about this on the Allspark back during that previous Scavengers story, where ultimately we were going to get a story where Grimlock is just fixed because he's a robot, and especially any kind of sort of lots of metaphor, as we have discussed at length with sort of the whole kind of cold construction and forge stuff. Metaphors for human stuff using Transformers will break down if you look funny at them.
Yeah.
Disability metaphors break down really if you breathe on them, because they're robots and you can fix them.
Oh.
And it was always going to happen, I think.
Yeah.
Grimlock getting back to basically being Grimlock was sort of an inevitability, and I took it that it would happen in this story.
Yeah, there's a similar what's the word for it? Lindsay Ellis talked about this in a recent video she did on Bright. I'm trying to think of the word. It's like where she's basically like analogy and coding are like different things. She didn't use the word analogy, but yeah, it's like it's one of those things. It's like you kind of have to accept that some stuff is gonna seem coded into certain characters, and that's like even if it's not intent or allegory. That's it. That was the word. Like allegory requires intent, coding does not. I feel like that's a good way to sum up a lot of the problems with Transformers, and just coding is kind of inherent, and it doesn't require the author to intentionally do it like allegory does. So I feel like that's kind of the minefield that has to be walked with stuff like Transformers. But yeah, it is one of those things. Like I said, Grimlock being fixed was an inevitability, but still, it still is kind of iffy given that. But I know that I am not an expert to talk on that, so I'm just going to keep it brief to that, and our listeners who are more well versed in that and more able to speak on that topic are free to discuss that with us via our Allspark thread or our social media. So, yeah.
Actually, one thing with this issue is, do we think that this is actually going to be the final appearance of the Scavengers? Because it kind of, unlike say the Tailgate Gets Buried ending, which was super obviously not the actual end of Tailgate's story, this could kind of work both ways. It kind of works as a sort of, and the adventure continues, or we got ourselves into another scrape kind of ending. Yeah. But also, it would not surprise me if they somehow get teleported out and poke their heads into the finale somehow for a final wave goodbye. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is I would not at all be shocked if they show up again, basically as as the cavalry in the finale.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, hey guys, we're here to, as a surprise, our heroes are in trouble, and boom, the Scavengers come to help them out. Especially because they do still have the Magnificence, but it's also established that the Magnificence is its eyes closed and it's gone cold. So it's I feel like this is one of those ones that could go either way. If it's not going to hurt anything, if this is the last appearance of the Scavengers and Nickel and the Magnificence, but I would not at all be shocked if they show up one more time before the finale. So
yeah, it's
it really could go either way, I'd say.
Yeah, the Magnificence is the same as you can't really tell is it literally just the Magnificence had its role in this 2-part story, and that's it. It's shut down just because it's not needed anymore for the plot. Or is there a mystery to be solved there with why is it shut itself down? Did it deliberately trap the Scavengers in this cell because it's a dick, I guess, or what? I don't know.
Yeah. So. But yeah, so I'm honestly that's most of my thoughts on Lost Light.
Yeah.
All right.
And again, because we talked about it last time. Yeah, again, great showing from Brendan Cahill.
Oh yes, Brendan Cahill's art is phenomenal.
And Sarah drops by the last 2 pages, isn't it? Going back to the flashback scenes that she had done. Done last issue.
Which I will say, that actually the Chekhov's gun of Tarn using his voice on Shockwave in the previous issue, the fact that actually did come into play in this issue, that was actually clever. I was like, oh, that's why we had that whole thing. Aside from its effect on Scorponok, it was Chekhov's gun. That was actually, I thought that was pretty decent. So decent setup and payoff. That actually made me oh, okay, all right, I see what you did there, Robert. It's good. I like it. So, but
yeah. Sort of, I'm all kind of okay with it. Yeah. Yeah, this is probably the best ending to a Lost Light multi-parter so far, if you ask me. So, like,
No, I mean, I'll agree with you on that. Yeah.
It didn't disappoint me, which is such a recurring theme with Lost Light these days.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, like I said, I've enjoyed this two-parter like even more than I did the Sardines issue. So that's the thing. It's like, and it's weird to say that because because I felt like in the build-up to this issue when we were talking about like solicits and all that, I talked about how little I was looking forward to the Scavengers coming back, and then it's like, oh no, the Scavengers actually delivered one of the better storylines for Lost Light. So the world has turned upside down. The world turned upside down.
And then we've now got the Everlasting Voices up next, a 3-parter.
Yep. So we will see how that goes.
The Lost Light crew are all dead, or so it seems.
They're all dead. There's a giant matrix in the sky, unless you're Cyclonus, in which case it's probably a giant tailgate or something. But yeah, enough about. Anything else on Lost Light, or you want to move on to Visionaries?
That's all right. Done.
Let's move on to Transformers versus Visionaries number 3. So, Callum, I'm curious. What were your thoughts on this?
It was very much a middle part, this issue.
Yeah.
Actually, we got there was some sort of like action happen with the sort of as the kind of infiltration sequence happens towards the end, but there's a lot, like we've got a scene that's like Wheeljack and Breakdown sort of explaining things to each other, and then we're setting up then our big plan to stop the bad guys, and this issue didn't it wasn't a remarkable issue, but it wasn't a bad issue. It was just a getting the job done issue.
Yeah, it was a middle part. It's one of those things. This issue is it hasn't been the most. This series has not been it's not quite up to the same. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people make it out to be, but it's also definitely not as there have been much better series even as far as just crossovers goes, like Rom vs. Transformers. It definitely is not quite to that level. Again, I think one of the biggest weaknesses of this book is just the fact that the Transformers are here, but I do feel like they're getting a bit more to do, especially when we do have that Wheeljack scene between Breakdown and Wheeljack, where they do show them reconstituting Breakdown's arm, which I do have to wonder.
That's weird.
Is that going to play a part in the finale? And more importantly, is that going to reverse a stupid editorial decision?
It's just because when would this issue have been written?
And
after that letter that was itself just really embarrassing, then deciding it was actually a fake out all along, honest, you guys, for reals, and the letter was just a clever ploy, totally honest.
I feel like that would almost make it worse, though. Honestly, honestly.
Yes, it would be. It would make everything even more embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm not sure that IDW is really in any position to win with this. They can either bring Cup back and make their letter look even, and their decision to kill him off even stupider.
I mean,
or they can stick to their guns and everyone's still pissed. So,
if it had been for the letter, you could have brought Cut back in issue 5, and it would have been a cheap like marketing ploy in the first issue, but you you kind of roll your eyes at it. Like,
it's the letter and the fact that the second printing was just Virulina stabbing.
Yeah,
and the fact that they marketed it around that was.
Well, it was literally like they sort of had interviews ready to run on comic sites about how great an idea it was to kill the Cup as well.
Yeah,
who knows what they'll do?
Yeah.
But because when would this issue have been written?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned,
I don't know.
Yeah, I could probably go through like Mags's Twitter and try to find if she because I feel like she mentioned something like a while back about writing Transformers, like scripting Transformers vs. Visionaries #3. It's hard to know. As far as I'm concerned with Cup, I'm still taking your comic as canon. That's my headcanon. I will stick to it literally until Action Man says something to contradict it. I'm just going to assume that Cup is back on Earth, chilling with the AMP and fighting, helping them fight. I don't know, Krakens or whatever.
Yeah. But unexpected deep cut this issue though. Thrustinator,
oh man,
someone's been on TF Wiki.
That's the thing. It's like that's one of those things. It's like because especially because Fico Ossio, for one, he worked with John Barber for on Revolutionaries, and which is basically references the comic. He also included like some of the spectral knights that we see in the first few pages. Like that's the thing, we see Kragor, who is like easily identifiable, but he later confirmed that a lot of the ones that are just kind of in the background are characters from the second year of the toy line that never got made. So it's almost like I wonder if that was a case of like Mags went on TF Wiki and said and scripted it, turns into Waspinator comes out in his Thrustinator design from TF Wiki, or if that was something like Mags was like he's a part animal, part technology, and Fico was like, there's a toy based on that. I'll just draw him like that.
Like that would be a massive coincidence if it did happen like that.
Yeah.
Did it happen?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's why it's like I'm feeling like it could go either way. Just knowing, like that Fico was willing to throw in like little cameos from canceled Visionaries toys. It's like I just feel like it could go either way. So we could probably shoot like Mags and Fico like a tweet and just ask them about that. Like, was who came up with that idea? But yeah, Thrustinator. It's one of those things. It's definitely like as cool as it is to see Thrustinator, though. It's also like very cruel to do to Waspinator. I mean, we joke about how the universe hates Waspinator, but it's like but to see him actually be like, like the way Fico draws his face is so sad. It really is. I mean, it's just like Waspinator is good, Lieutenant.
Yeah, such is Waspinator's lot in life. It's very on brand for Waspinator to get like captured and tortured and turned into a terrifying monstrosity by some aliens. I kind of want to see the Waspinator in his Thrustinator design, like then turn and like attack Virulina and just like take her down. I think that'd be a fun little thing. We also get some more Visionaries in this, like some more Visionaries characters who were not the first. Like for instance, Cryotech, and Feral, who is now gender bent to be a girl now in this book. I will say though, man, I get why they did it, but I really wish the Spectral Knights had more
more variety in their colors more than anything. It's like, I can understand if you want to have like a central color, but it's like I really wish they could have like more than just like purple as their and black as their like accented colors. You know, I feel like it really would have. I feel like they all, especially on these pages, they all kind of blend together. Really would have liked to have seen more, individuality in the designs. So, but yeah.
I mean, I guess. I'll tell you what, you couldn't have done the unified color schemes with far more traditional visionary designs, where they're all just basically wearing kind of basically the same armor with different helmets. The fact that FICO's character designs for them are so kind of all distinctive, they have interesting hairstyles, and like Arzon's got his big sort of like kind of feathery cape, and that all those kind of like big noticeable kind of character design things do kind of let them just about get away with it in terms of like characters being kind of immediately recognizable. So kind of that's nice, at least.
Yeah, I'll say that's true. But yeah, we do get a little, like a bit more interaction, but like between the Visionaries and like the Spectral Knights and the Transformers. But and we get more Mordred in there. But yeah, this issue really did feel like a pretty decompressed issue. So yeah, we'll see. We've got 2 issues left. Hopefully things will really ramp up towards the the action will really get going. So yeah, it's a decent issue, but honestly not like I feel like I've pretty much talked about everything of note. But yeah.
It's a middle part, and sort of it shows a bit, but yeah, it's not bad by any means.
Yeah, it's just middle of the road in more ways than one. Alrighty. Anything else about?
No, yeah, that's me done, I think. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well then, let's move on to Rom and the Micronauts number 3. So, while we continue on the trend of this episode of just praising the artists, man, do I love Paolo's art on this. I know we say that every time that this book comes out, but it's like his action, like just from the first few pages, like that's the thing. I was flipping through this to like get to refresh my memory and all that before we started, and just his action on the book is so good. That fight between Akroyer and Rom, just great stuff. I loved it.
Yeah, it's very kind of kinetic, and sort of everything's well framed, and yeah. He gets a lot to show off with in this issue. We've got lots of sort of interesting action and cool kind of character designs, like all the kind of wraithed up Micronaut kind of alien vehicles, and
like the Ampzilla and Terrafant. We get to see that. Oh, sick designs. Like really, those are just great designs. I love them.
And Membros is back.
Yeah. You can't keep a good mad scientist exposed brain insect guy down.
And like some really scary looking, like particularly the new Antron is particularly like the new Antron has like a kind of octopus head for some reason, but it's kind of scary.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And he says I've brought friends from my workshop, so that could that imply that like I don't know if that's like implying that he made, like, did he take like a Labros and Antron and just kind of and like modify them in his laboratory, or are all Labros and Antrons like made by him? Like
there was an Antron in the like first arc of Micronauts that tried to assassinate Karza, so I assume they are kind of just
right. Okay, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, you're right. I had completely forgot about that.
Oh, and Lobros are a thing that can infest prison cells.
Okay, yeah, I'm remembering that now. Okay,
so to get worried about. So I guess
yeah, disregard. But yeah, it's like those redesigns were really good. Yeah, like the Lobros has almost got like a Cthulhu kind of thing going on with his face.
Wait, the Lobros?
Or not the Lobros, I meant the Antron.
Yeah, the Antron's got a sort of Cthulhu kind of octopus face.
Yeah. So.
And yeah, I mean, Lobros's toy design is already kind of super weird and kind of creepy.
Yeah, this just like blew it up and like put armor plating on it. It was like,
yeah, it's
yeah,
so it's very good creature design, very good action, like all the kind of big mechanism, like the kind of the second entropy mechanism on the last page, with all like the kind of dead or living, I don't know, humans, like kind of ensnared in it as kind of components. That's super creepy.
Yeah. Like that's the thing, Paolo's art really works for, because Rom has always been a series and a character that really blends science fiction and horror elements together, and Paolo's art, like, and the work Paolo's done on it, like, shows that he is he's really good at merging those two, and he's really good at merging those two and really bringing just a great sense of design to it, to the book. So yeah, I really love that, and I also, again, like the Rom and the Micronauts, like their character interaction is just like, they work so well off each other. Like especially in that first fight with Rom doing everything he can to fight the infested Croyer, all that. It really is like great. That it shows why this book works is the pairing of characters, and that's such an important part to it. In addition to the great action. So yeah.
But yeah, no, this series has just it's surpassed my expectations for it so much. It's just really good.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, in a way, it's because like we've seen the sales figures for the first issue or so of this, and it has dropped a fair bit from ROM 14, which is kind of understandable, and it's kind of, and so on one hand, it's kind of like a shame that there's going to be a bunch of people who read like 75% of kind of ROM's kind of storyline, but are then going to like skip the finale because it was a new miniseries of Micronauts in it. But also, this miniseries is really good, so like, I don't know, I'm torn.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. This has been a really good series. You know me. I wish everyone would read everything ROM. I wish everyone loved this character as much as me, and this has been just like you said, fantastic series. Surpassed my expectations.
They won't do it, but if I was IDW, what I would have done for the trade paperback of this would be to sell the trade paperback as kind of like ROM Volume 4, kind of starring the Micronauts.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what it is. Like, this is totally divorced from anything the Micronauts were doing in their series, whilst it's effectively the series finale for ROM.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, and I know IDW is coming out with those big collections.
Oh yeah, there's Romnibus and the Micronauts one, which I can't think of a pun for. It's kind of a shame the ROM one does end up being like 75% of the ROM story.
Yeah.
Should have waited for this, innit?
Well, and it, it does make me wonder if, because of like the first, like, I imagine the first strike, like, I'm not sure. I'm curious if the first strike tie-ins will get collected with ROM and the Micronauts.
It's probably on Amazon by now. I bet I can check.
Yeah, check that. Because I would certainly, because I know that's happening for Scarlet Strike Force, and I certainly would hope, but it would, if not, I think it would be really good to actually, like, I would not mind if IDW put out like a ROM and the Micronauts complete collection that collected both series.
Wait, what? Apparently, that can't be right. Amazon is saying that the ROM and the Micronauts trade paperback contains Micronauts First Strike one-shot, ROM First Strike one-shot, 5-issue ROM and the Micronauts miniseries, and the 2018 ROM annual. Wait, the 2018 ROM annual. And I misread that. 2018? Is this sort of...
Wait, what?
They accidentally revealed a 2018 ROM annual via...
Oh, hold on. I gotta find...
Yeah. I had not noticed... I hadn't seen that before. But yeah...
Okay, I'm on...
News.
I'm on Amazon, and it says collects the ROM and the Micronauts paperback, July 17th, 2018. Collects the Micronauts First Strike one-shot, the ROM First Strike one-shot, and the 5-issue ROM and the Micronauts miniseries.
Oh, see, on Amazon UK, it is, and the 2018 ROM annual.
Here, let's see,
So that's interesting.
Let me see if I can pull up Amazon UK.
Yeah,
that is what Amazon UK says, but it is not what Amazon US says.
That's interesting.
That's... Huh. Okay, we'll have to keep an eye out, I guess.
News item. Possibly there's going to be a 2018 ROM annual.
You know, if there is a 2018 ROM annual, it would not surprise me at all if it is the in-between quel of this series and Unicron.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
And if it comes out in like June, which we don't have the solicitations for yet, I could see that working as like it being like the prequel story to the events of Unicron.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. We do have to figure out how exactly, like what exactly is going to happen to get ROM from, and while Unicron I guess could show up at the end of ROM and the Micronauts, I'd rather it not end on, oh well, I guess I have to go warn everyone about the third event, like the next event. So we'll see what happens with that. That's interesting. We will have to see what happens with that.
Because if it had said 2017 ROM manual, I'd have said, oh look, that should say 2017 Micronauts annual, and they're putting it in there because that never got collected. Yeah. But that is 2018 ROM annual.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's because they're releasing the Battle Scars backup story as a one-shot, but that's not being branded as an annual, so...
No.
I can't think that's what it's talking about.
Yeah.
It's curious.
Yeah, and like I said, on Amazon.com, the US, it just says Micronauts First Strike, ROM First Strike one-shot, and ROM and the Micronauts.
Which site had it up more recently? I'm actually, Googling things. Penguin Australia. I guess they distribute IDW's trade paperbacks in Australia. Penguin Australia also has the 2018 ROM annual.
Okay, so
it's interesting.
Okay, that is interesting.
As does Foils UK. Yeah, it seems they've definitely been sending around.
Okay, so like it looks like the so based on all that, it's like definitely at least the international market. Okay. So we might be getting a 2018 ROM annual. Hell yeah, I am down for that.
Yeah, no, looking at the Google results, it would appear all these results are kind of UK and Australia sites, so it would appear sort of the international distributor has been sending around, solicit text that includes and the 2018 ROM annual.
Here, let's yeah.
I just did sort of a Google search for sort of like brackets 2018 ROM annual, and it is all UK and Australian sites. So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, no, that's a good call with it maybe being a sort of between this and Unicron. I mean, I kind of been expecting that probably for Unicron it'd just be sort of Rom finishes up in this series without sort of any mention of it, and then just the last issue of Optimus Prime before Unicron just ends with sort of Rom calling up on the phone.
Yeah. Well,
actually, what I could see it being would be kind of an interquel between Rom 14 and Rom and the Micronauts to tie off all the random loose ends from Volume 2. The G.I. Joe stuff and the sort of Deep Wave Industries or Technologies, whatever it was, gang.
Yes, that's the other thing that I was thinking was potentially that could also take place after Rom and the Micronauts, and the annual basically to serve as similar to Till All Are One the Till All Are One annual, where it's basically tying up these loose threads because the book is ending, and we expected to have more issues. That's
very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that thing, you know me, I will never turn down more Rom, never in my life. So I hope we get it. I hope this is not just super wrong text. I hope June solicitations come out and it's like, Rom 2018 annual. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. But Rom and the Micronauts, number 3. Great issue. I feel like it does suffer from being the middle issue of a 5-issue series, but we're definitely building towards the climax, and it's going to be, I'm looking forward to it. Alrighty. So, any other thoughts about Rom and the Micronauts?
That's kind of, that's
All right, cool.
Say, and more. Exciting maybe news.
Yes. And alright, so next up, let's talk about Scarlet Strike Force number 3, the final issue of Scarlet Strike Force, and they really didn't do anything to bring any sort of finality to this, did they?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's better than what I expected in that it looks like this was probably always written to be the end of the first trade paperback. I guess they were always accounting for collecting the first Strike one-shots in the plan, because the end of this felt very similar in terms of its finality to the end of G.I. Joe number 4, where kind of you had the kind of current scenarios kind of were wrapped up, the sort of current missions were wrapped up, but then there's a big cliffhanger for sort of the next arc, and this felt a lot like that. So I was expecting this to just be finishing on part 3 of a 4-part trade paperback, but no, it is the end of a trade paperback, it looks like. So it's more final than it could have been, but there is still a gigantic cliffhanger of they completed their ritual and rose their whipped little stone they've shrunken themselves down onto into the sky to raise Globulus, and so that's the thing. This I don't know how I feel about I mean obviously the fact is this is not the just because of circumstance it leaves so much open-ended, and this was never intended to be the third or the final issue. So, but it's definitely just one of those things that just it presents all this interesting stuff, but that's the thing, Skywarp. We see Skywarp freeing. I was about to say Quick Kick, Helix, and Snake Eyes, and getting him to join up with him and Duke, but that's not going to get followed up. But that's it. We don't really get anything else. We get Storm Shadow 2 showing up and getting, for one, a new name, and she is now the student of the first Storm Shadow.
Which I'll be honest, and I said this on the Allspark already, kind of disappointed in that. I am very much actually disappointed that Storm Shadow 2 has now gotten her own name rather than being Storm Shadow, you know?
See, I don't know, I don't mind the new name, because, like, I feel like it improves her viability as a standalone character in the same way that, like, Robots in Disguise Megatron just getting called Gigatron allows him to sort of, like, go and do stuff on his own. But I didn't really like the no, not as good. She got beaten by the original best Storm Shadow, so now she has to be a student. I was like,
yeah, well, like I get why. I get why they wanted to especially because now that there are two Storm Shadows running around, it like makes sense when the first Storm Shadow was dead. But I think that just feeds into a larger problem of we didn't need the first Storm Shadow brought back. He died. And quite frankly, I found Storm Shadow 2 to be more interesting, and to like her whole thing, she could have been the Storm Shadow. You want a rivalry between Storm Shadow and Quick Kick? Just use her. I mean, yeah, she's more affiliated with Dr. X and Action Man, but like she's still Storm Shadow. She still runs the Arashikage, or the remnants of the Arashikage with the red shadows. Like, what? Like, why not just use her instead of bringing back the dude? And I feel like, and part of it is also the fact that we didn't actually unlike a lot of legacy characters whose name change and taking on their own identity is more about their story. This is not really about her story because we didn't see the events. It's just, hey, yeah, she's got a different name now, and I don't know, it disappoints me. It's also, massive continuity hiccup because apparently Aubrey Sitterson forgot that, hey, she was locked up with everybody else on Cybertron.
Well, we've already had Destro out. Yeah, so adding Storm Shadow and Dr. Mindbend to the mix is just okay, sure.
At this point, my headcanon is honestly that. Basically, Storm Shadow used her ninja, or the Tempest, as she's called now. The Tempest used her awesome ninja abilities to free Storm Shadow and to free Dr. Mindbender and Destro, and they just snuck back to Earth. They just left Joe Colton and everyone else there.
I was gonna say, what has happened on Cybertron since did they just everyone was busy looking at Onyx Prime's spaceship and they just sort of snuck away?
they just got out and that's the thing, and she only got them because they were like, you're also Cobra. Forget about Miles Mayhem and Joe Colton. That's the thing. At the end of the day, Tempest, she just wanted to be back with her girlfriend.
But yeah, no. It's very much a kind of a pattern of Aubrey Sitterson's is sort of going as kind of close to the sort of real American hero cartoon with kind of character interpretation as he can, sort of slightly kind of in spite of previous IDW stuff we have.
Yeah.
Frogmaster is just kind of...
Yeah, well, Crocmaster, Raptor, Cesspool, yeah.
Yeah. Cesspool, I'll give him because the previous Cesspool was just sort of nothing.
Yeah, and Revolutionary is at least kind of soft.
Yeah,
retcon to introduce that. I will. Sorry.
But yeah, sort of stuff with Crocmaster game. This is not the first case of Aubrey Sitterson sort of essentially ignoring a sort of a distinctive IDW take on a character in favor of going the real American hero cartoon. Although at least in this case there is sort of an in-universe rationale to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll also say another thing I didn't really... Something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way about this, just knowing it is the finale, is the fact that like Sitters or not Sitters. I don't know why I said Spitfire and Salvo like rush into the tomb and then get crushed, or no never mind. I was misreading that. Okay.
No, yeah, that one's fine.
Yeah. Never mind. For whatever reason, I'm flipping back through and was like, oh wait, they're right there. No, that invalidates my whole point. Okay, all of that will be cut out from the show. But yeah, so that's the thing. It's decent action. Nelson Daniel has proven himself capable of just drawing really good action. But yeah,
if this wasn't the last issue, I'd have said this. Yeah, it's very good as sort of an issue in an ongoing series, minus sort of the qualms we have with the treatment of Shadow 2. But yeah, it's not really any kind of an ending, and I do wonder, because G.I. Joe will almost certainly turn up in Unicron, and John Barber is writing Unicron, so I kind of feel like there's going to be some attempt at sort of closing things off here. But
since we've got this opportunity, because this is the way it ends with the Globulus is coming and all that. Let's play a little game. Let's each describe what we think happened right after this page. So, here's what I think happened, and this will be what gets established when G.I. Joe comes back, and we have to fill in the gaps of what happened after this and their appearance in G.I. Joe. Basically, all right. So here's what I think happened. I think they flew into the sky, and then nothing happened. Basically, they fall back down to Earth. Everyone miraculously survives, and then Baroness freaks out because, oh my gosh, her plan was wrong. Crystal Ball freaks out because he's like, no, my God, and then Destro, Dr. Mindbender, and the Storm Shadows basically are like, so we did all this for nothing. Beat them up and go back to doing their own individual things.
Because I guess that's kind of there's two ways of resolving this quickly in dialogue when they show up again, which is to sort of sweep it under the carpet, which is sort of slightly anticlimactic, but sort of it makes it so you're not missing anything, or is to sort of just allude to sort of a really exciting finale that you didn't get to see, which is less anticlimactic but also sort of frustrating. That would be one way of doing it, is just to make a joke out of the fact of how make a joke in Unicron out of how kind of explosive and action packed and kind of earth shattering their battle against Globulus was, and just you didn't notice that going on, guys. We've had stuff going on.
So is that your answer?
I guess it is. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the thing. You have two options, John. Pick one. I assume you're listening to the podcast, John Barber, but yeah. We gotta have John back on sometime, whether we want to do it after Unicron and after we know more of what the future holds, but yeah. But this thing, I feel like there isn't really much to talk about with Scarlet Strike Force, and except for that's a cliffhanger ending. So it's a shame. It's a shame. It was a fun book, but yeah.
Yeah, because there was for 1 month they solicited it as being a 8-issue limited series, didn't they?
Yep.
So that would have been, I guess, then a second 5-issue trade paperback.
Yeah.
When would that have ended?
That would have ended let's see, because this was scheduled to come out in February. I think it got pushed back to the first week of, the first week of
okay, so
March.
if this was a February book, the last issue would have come out in July then?
Yeah.
So... Yeah, so it would have been ending around the same time as sort of we're kind of expecting all the Unicron stuff to start up. So yeah.
So yeah, we will see what happens with the future of G.I. Joe and Skywarp and Duke and Cobra. Hopefully that gets resolved in Unicron. I really
actually, because we do know that I think Aubrey Sitterson, I don't think it's up yet, but I think Aubrey Sitterson has said he is going to publish as Patreon content the script for issue 4 and then his outline for the rest of the series.
Okay,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll definitely be something I'd like to see. So who knows? I might support his Patreon for a month just to get that content.
Well, yeah, because he's got sort of I've heard it, like we've all heard it secondhand, but yeah, the stuff with kind of the Inhumanoids in the original series as well. It does sort of sound quite interesting. So yeah, I'd happily sort of chip in some money to I am interested. Yeah, because I am genuinely interested in how all the kind of globular stuff was set to play out, like. Because I assume, given his proclivities, that Globulus would have ended up despite the sort of vague visions of just sort of tentacles and stuff. I feel like Globulus probably would have ended up being just a kind of a guy with a snake tail, because that's what he looked like in Real American Hero. So
yeah.
No, I'll be interested to learn about some of that stuff.
Yeah. But yeah. So. All right, last comic, Jim Dimensions number 4. This is also the last Jim content that we, at least that we know, is coming out. That's the thing. There's even in Sarah Gatos's little. Letter, that's the word.
Yeah.
I'm losing my words. In Sarah Gatos's letter to the readers, she said, if you want to see more Jim and the Holograms from IDW Publishing, make sure to drop them a line on Twitter or via email at letters@idwpublishing.com. So, fans, get out there and show your support for Jim and the Holograms, because this stuff these are fun comics. I really like them. So, yeah. So our first story is Tasty, in which the Misfits try to get on a famous magazine cover, and it results in what I like to call a Josie and the Pussycat scene. And then our second tale is Jimojis.
It's a great pun as a foundation for a story.
Oh yeah, which sees the Misfits trying to undo Jim and the Holograms' success with their own emojis. Which, no joke, I would totally download not only some Jimojis, but some Misfit OGs. I would totally use those.
Those tie in IDW.
Yes. Yeah. But that's the thing, very much a Misfits heavy issue.
Yeah.
But yeah. First off, Tasty, I love this story. I mean, I'm always, when it comes to stories about bands and all that, I am always a fan of like I said, I love the Josie and the Pussycats movie, and this is basically that.
There's a movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure I knew that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So. Okay. So there was like a movie in the 90s based on Josie and the Pussycats. Yeah. Basically, the basic premise of it is the Pussycats get famous, and then Josie starts to get turned into the diva and the the soloist and all that. But it's also done in like kind of a farcical, it's very self-aware about itself, and that's what really elevates it into just being like a really hilarious movie. I definitely say watch it. It's fun. It's not like high art or nothing, but it is a fun issue or a fun movie. But yeah, this is, I really like that. What I really like about this story is that it really shows how three-dimensional the Misfits are in this universe. It's like, yeah, they hate Gem and the holograms, but they also they really are focused on their music, and Pizzazz is focused on her band, the fact that the Misfits are a group and are a team, and it really shows the importance of that idea. Especially because this is a thing that happens a lot in the real world with musicians and bands is one person becomes to use an example like Paramore. A lot of times, Hayley Williams gets the kind of front and center of the spotlight, and that's the thing. It's just a really good character piece for Pizzazz and for the Misfits, and I also really like the art style. But Callum, what are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, very, very similar. Like I maintain that Pizzazz is the best character in IDW Gem. She's she's really fun, and she has great depth as kind of a villain. Like she genuinely cares about her bandmates, who she considers her sort of like adopted family, and she's also like the best dressed Hasbro character by like miles and miles.
Yeah, definitely.
I will never say no to Pizzazz content, and this didn't disappoint. The art is very nice.
It's very much it's very similar to Sophie Campbell's.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, it's the comparison you draw. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like for Gem, because Campbell's artwork has defined the IDW incarnation, that is definitely a compliment. It synthesizes very well with her art, and so and that's the thing. And we've seen with the Dimensions title how even art that's just slightly off, that doesn't really fit with that style, can kind of be a bit of a turnoff. So this blends so well. I really liked it. It was the art was fantastic. I also really loved the moment where Pizzazz gets has the little devil and angels on her shoulder, but still with her hair. I loved that. So,
the Twitter montage page with the sort of redraws of popular internet memes was fun.
Yeah, Misfits forever. Yeah. Now, maybe this is a question you can answer. They make reference to their label. Is this I assume this is supposed to be set after the Misfits mini?
We're told it is set before the events of Infinite.
Okay.
So I think this is between. Because what is said about their label?
It just says until we've got our label situation sorted out, every move we make has to be planned. Yeah. So and I know they start a label in at the end of that series, right?
Yeah. So but basically at the end of the fourth arc of the arc of the ongoing that kind of preceded the Misfits mini. The Misfits got dropped by their label for like basically kind of like antics trying to sabotage Gem and the Holograms. And so then the Misfits mini is about them sort of like they strike out on their own and end up agreeing to do a reality TV show in order to like keep themselves going for a while. But so kind of that kind of, and then I think I think that is what happens at the end of the mini. The mini is then that they decide to start their own label. So kind of they are sort of, I guess this in this story they're still sort of getting things together a bit, I guess.
All right. So so it's a very nice story. Any other thoughts about Tasty?
No, it's a lovely little story. Yeah, like it's fun, nice art, nicely written. It's
Alright.
But don't have a bad word to say about it.
Next up we have Gemojis, which a bit more traditional kind of Misfits story where they try to shut down Gem and the Holograms for doing something, and it goes awry. That's the thing. It's a bit more two-dimensional than Tasty. I feel like in some ways. But
kind of. It's less of a character piece and more of
an episode of the cartoon, basically.
Yeah, I was going to say it is sort of a kind of a miniature scale kind of archetypal Gem and the Holograms story.
Yeah, it's the kind of story that like would be in like a 15-minute or it'd be like in a 15-minute like short that like would air like. It's like a 7-minute or really more like a 7-minute kind of short animation that would air like between episodes of a TV, like on a cartoon on like Cartoon Network or something.
Yeah,
so, it's not bad. I mean, it is a fun little story where Pizzazz tries to where Pizzazz and the Misfits try to mess up Gem and the Holograms, and of course then they get their comeuppance when their song is deleted. So. But it also has very good art by let's see who's the artist on this. Abby Bow. It's different enough from the Hannah Templar art, but is not quite the it doesn't quite veer so far in the other direction that it doesn't work for the book.
Oh no, it's distinct. Like it's got sort of like kind of the lines are heavier, but it's still sort of.
I really liked
still a very kind of on brand style.
Yeah. What I really liked about Bo's art was the facial expressions. Like she could do a lot of really different, really interesting facial expressions.
There's
for
fun
the characters.
stuff going on.
Yeah, so I liked it. But I think if I had to decide like which story I liked better, it would probably be Tasty, just because it's a bit more meaty as far as character goes.
It's more of a character piece, whereas this is sort of like you say, it is essentially a sort of a Gem and the Hologram sort of like short, basically.
Yeah. So it's but it's definitely fun, and I certainly hope this is not the last we ever get of IDW Gem.
I need to remember to do an email to the letters at IDW email, because they really need to especially, but like I wouldn't want it to end regardless, but for kind of a book that was kind of generally sort of about having an ongoing about being an ongoing drama comic, for it to sort of end on a sort of anthology book of like unconnected little standalone stories would be kind of a shame.
Yeah.
So let your voices be heard.
Yes. And I will definitely let Sarah Gatos know that we want more Gem when I see her next weekend at the NC Comic Con. Gem Dimensions #4, very good pizzazz and the Misfits focused issue, but yeah, I certainly would like to see more Gem after this.
Yeah, no, it not to say that Dimensions has been a bad series, but it would be kind of an odd end.
Yeah.
An odd and slightly unceremonious end to the line, if it did end up being that.
So I think that'll just about wrap us up for this episode. Callum, what comics are coming out next week?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there's going to be a bit of a lull again, if I'm remembering right. I think, as far as I am aware, the next 2 weeks might just be Lost Light 16. So yeah, Lost Light 16 out on the 14th. And I don't think there's anything out on the 21st, last time I checked.
Well, that differs from my list, so...
Oh, actually, because, yeah, you pull stuff off a comic list, don't you? So I mostly
but I also... I might not have... It might not be up to date, so... Let me just peruse real quick. Okay, so no, that got bumped.
Yeah.
Because my list originally had Visionaries is coming out.
Yeah, no, I don't. Comic List doesn't currently list anything for the 21st apart from another Transformers collection hardcover.
Yeah.
How far have they got? How far through the IDW collection have they got at this point?
Yeah, my list, which had Transformers and Visionaries and Robin the Micronauts, they've gotten bumped to the next to April. So okay, yeah. All right. So next issue might be light. So who knows? Possibly we'll do another ranked segment.
Yeah. See.
It'll depend. So get in those ranked books so that we can read them and talk about them. But yes, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Action and Adventure, the Hasbro Universe Podcast. If you enjoyed this show, you can find us, you can continue to listen to more episodes on our Libsyn page at hasbrouniverse.libsyn.com. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Google Play, we're on Player FM, and we are now on TuneIn. So, if you have an Amazon Echo, you can ask your Alexa to play Action and Adventure, and we will play. And we are now able to be throughout your entire home. So, hey, that's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's all. That. Oh, and of course we're on YouTube. If you like to listen to your podcasts on YouTube. And, of course, if you want to engage with us, you can hit us up on social media. Our Twitter, we're very active on Twitter at Hasbro U Podcast. We're on Tumblr at HasbroUniversePodcast.tumblr.com. And, as always, you can see us on allspark.com. We are so thankful to be partnered with them. They are a great Transformers site and a great community where we talk about the comics every single week. So, if you want to join in the discussion with us, sign up for an AllSpark account and, join in on the discussion. Callum, where can the fine listeners find more of you on the internet?
Twitter, Tumblr, AllSpark, TFWiki, IDW, Hasbro Wiki, all over the place under the username JalaGuy, Jala Guy.
And I'm basically in those same places as Daniel Adkins. My Twitter is Daniel Adkins PRD. Daniel Adkins blog is my Tumblr. That's pretty much everything for me. I'm just Daniel Adkins on the AllSpark. So yeah. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. We'll see you all later. Take care.
See ya.